Hello and welcome to the big picture. As we head towards what by all accounts is one of the most important elections in post-independent India, something seems to be changing. Of these changes, like the unprecedented use of media and especially social media, among others, one which distinctly looks different are the electoral contests in many constituencies. Not in one's memory can one remember so many direct contests between important leaders of different parties. Whether it's Arvind Kejriwal versus Narendra Modi in Banaras, Rahul Gandhi versus Smriti Irani versus Kumar Vishwas in Amethi, Arun Jaitley versus Captain Amarinder Singh in Amritsar, or Veerappa Moily versus H.D. Kumaraswamy in Chikballapur, or Anant Kumar versus Nandan Nilekani in Bangalore South, to name a few. These elections are seeing mega battles in such numbers for the first time. It was only those rare occasions in the past when big leaders of different parties dared to take on each other. Contests like Indira Gandhi versus Virendra Patil in Chikmagalur in 1978 or S.K. Patil versus George Fernandez in the 1960s were rare. However, the daring displayed by Aam Aadmi Party's Arvind Kejriwal in taking on Sheila Dikshit successfully, and now his decision to take on Narendra Modi in Banaras, seems to have forced other parties too. Has Indian elections therefore changed? Is the convenient understanding between major parties a thing of the past? Or is this just a passing trend in Indian elections? We will discuss all this today with a panel of very experienced journalists who have observed and covered Indian elections for decades. I have with me Ajay Bose, senior journalist, Vinod Sharma, political editor, Hindustan Times, Sabha Naqvi, political editor, Outlook Magazine, Vipul Mudgal, project director, CSDS, and also a senior journalist, and Anant Bagaitkar, chief of bureau of Sakal newspaper. Welcome to all of you. Ajay, I'd like to come to you first. Do you think this is something different is happening in these elections about what I had just said?
Yeah, at many levels, really, because I think that one is, of course, these, very high-profile fights we are looking at. And that itself is, charging up the elections with a lot of energy. But also, I think that we are looking at Indian democracy at some kind of crossroads. We are looking at a concerted attempt to make the parliamentary elections into a presidential election. Because there is no question that whole phenomenon of Narendra Modi as the leader of India has been projected in a manner never ever before has Indian elections been reduced to one single leader. And we have 543 contests actually, yes. But it has been reduced to this of whether if it's Modi versus Rahul Gandhi at one level, then Modi versus Arvind Kejriwal now. So we have to see whether this actually comes about and whether Indian politics can be simplified in this manner when we all know that this is a parliamentary system. And thirdly, I think that we are debating on many fundamentals issues of this country, because we are looking at a whole range of social and economic issues. Which way should the country go? Because there is a very strong corporate lobby which is for the first time really projecting their own leader, and there are these scattered mutinies, as it were, as Naipaul likes to call it, a million mutinies, with so many activist groups who are pushing back. Absolutely. So it's a very interesting election.
It's an interesting election, as you rightly pointed out. For the first time, corporates have come into the mainstream, if you have to say that, in an election the way it is. Vinod, do you think that Arvind Kejriwal has changed the way Indian elections are fought?
Well, I don't know whether he's changed the way the elections are fought, but I think he's changed the political discourse immensely leading up to the elections. That today people are discussing and issues are in public domain very much that were earlier a big no. People wouldn't dare talk about those issues. Say, for instance, your own observation that this is one election where the corporate lobby is very much part of it.
Right.
And he's taking names which are not permitted, which are a total taboo until recently. And I think that makes this discourse a trifle more robust Secondly, I think that this whole campaign of the BJP that it's a presidential contest, I would think a little otherwise. If it was really a presidential contest and if it was a vote for or against Modi, then there wouldn't be so many high profile contests in individual constituencies. And then he himself must not be contesting from 2 seats. Now, contesting from 2 seats is not unusual. Indira Gandhi did it while contesting from Medak and Amethi at the same time. So it's nothing new. But at the same time, I think it's a bit of an anachronism when we view this election as a presidential contest. Coming back to Mr. Kejriwal, while having been the catalyst for change, today has spread himself very thin. In my personal view, had he concentrated himself on Delhi and Haryana, then I think he had a good chance of forming a government in Delhi and possibly in Haryana as well. And out of the 16 odd seats up for grabs in the 2 states, he would have comfortably won 8.
Okay.
I today
No,
doubt whether he'll win those number of seats anywhere.
We know that's not the. I mean, that is not the topic of discussion. We'll discuss that some other day. Let me get Vipul in on this. Vipul, how do you think Arvind Kejriwal has changed the way electoral contests take place here?
I would say that it's not so much one individual, but there is a new politics that India is encountering. You know, it's not business as usual to begin with. There's a rupture in the status quo, and there's a new politics emerging. Now, Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party could be a reaction to that new politics, or probably a creation of that new politics. But it is not one and the same thing. You know, somehow you see it is continuation of youth movements. There were 2 very important movements going on. You had the anti-rape movements. A lot of youngsters were completely galvanized in that movement. Even if they were not present in Delhi, they were all over the country. They were looking at it. And then before that, immediately before that, there was the anti-corruption movement, Anna Hazare movement. So we see that some kind of an anti-politics where people are looking for solutions, even if those solutions are kind of technocratic solutions, even if there is no ideology, they would say probably our ideology, what we are looking for is governance. Corruption, governance, suddenly there are new kind of issues. I wouldn't say that this is, in terms of cause and effect, whether Aam Aadmi Party is an effect of a new politics which is emerging in India, or whether Aam Aadmi Party has brought about a new politics. I think the later would be a very big claim. But I think there's a new change which is sweeping India, which is perceptible and which is everywhere.
Okay. Sabha, how do you look at this?
Girish, I was in Varanasi last week. I spent about 5-6 days there when Kejriwal came as a complete outsider. And the day before he arrived there, people thought it was ridiculous. But after that, when I went around the city, people were saluting his courage for having come there. Having said that, I think if we start looking at Aam Aadmi Party phenomenon in terms of conventional political measurements, we will perhaps say that they have failed when the results come out. But if we look at Aam Aadmi Party as a movement which has changed the discourse.
It's interesting you are saying this. What is failure?
I feel they have both changed the discourse, and they will. They cannot play against the big players when it comes to elections. Even in Delhi, I don't think the assembly thing will get repeated. But I don't want to make any predictions.
Yeah, it's too early to make predictions.
It's very early. I don't think that Arvind, just to get to a specific, I think his leaving the government has not been understood by many people in Uttar Pradesh and in Delhi. Having said that, they have the capacity to, because they are non-conventional in their pursuit of power, their ways of raising money are non-conventional, the courage is unconventional, the candidate selection is unconventional, the rhetoric is completely out of, so therefore Aam Aadmi Party is a very important player in the electoral battle. And I don't think we should judge them by numbers when we are done with this election. Having some of the things that they've done, some of the names they have taken requires guts, requires audaciousness. They have also attracted a whole lot of people across the country who have frankly been fighting battles which are independent battles, unconventional battles, activists. So attract a certain level of idealism. They will not, my hunch is they will not perform and in that way where they will be seen as giant killers, no. But they are going to put up a battle, they'll give you very interesting rhetoric.
They'll give a run for the money at least. Okay, Anant, my question is, if Arvind Kejriwal had not taken on Sheila Dikshit in the assembly elections in Delhi, would we have seen this kind of an atmosphere? And then after that, then he says that I will go and contest against Narendra Modi. Would you think that if that had not been done, we would have seen something like, say, Arun Jaitley versus Amarinder Singh battle, all these things which are happening in several places? Would we have seen that these kind of contests?
No, if he would not have fought against Sheila Dikshit, obviously he would not have got that kind of an image. Which he is having today.
Yes.
Okay, that is one thing. Another thing, if you look at, I agree totally with my panelist, and he had changed the discourse. And another, I think, the important factor in the rise of Aam Aadmi Party or Arvind Kejriwal is he is actually targeting the classes, and I will describe them as deprived classes who haven't got that voice to raise. He has given voice to those classes to raise against the monolith of this system,
The established political
establishment. And obviously he is riding on that wave, and that is why he may not win seats, he may not get that kind of success which he got in Delhi in Lok Sabha elections, but he will definitely have his one can say that he will prove his party's little bit matters.
Something which matters.
Which matters, yeah.
Ajay, the same question which I asked you. Do you think that we would have seen Amarinder Singh versus Arun Jaitley battle, or Smriti Irani being sent to contest against Sonia Gandhi? These kind of things we have not seen before in this
Certainly, but
Indian elections.
let me just add.
Yeah,
a bit
1 second.
to-
I think Anant
Yeah,
wants
sure.
to say something. I'll
You
come
see
back.
Smriti Irani versus Rahul Gandhi or like that, nothing new. If you remember 1984, it was Amitabh Bachchan against
These are all
Hemant
rare.
Bahuguna.
In one election, we have not seen so many big contests. Have you seen?
Well,
that?
this year it seems to be a lot, but I think we need to look at
Like I can tell you,
Kejriwal and-
I can tell you, in Karnataka, Veerap Moily is contesting there, a union minister, former chief minister, and here is another former chief minister contesting. It has never happened there.
That
This
is-
kind of
that
things
is
have
true.
never
But
happened.
But we
before.
should not get too diverted by just this high-profile battles, because you must understand Kejriwal and AAP's strategy. I think their strategy is predicated not in winning a maximum number of seats in these elections. Just look at this. The Congress has declined. The Congress profile in public space, the centrists and left of center, and not just the Congress, the left forces have also
Absolutely.
declined. There is a huge vacuum here.
Yes.
What Kejriwal has very effectively done, and if indeed, in fact, I think Kejriwal will be benefited if Modi comes to power, because there's that huge opposition space which will be vacated. He has used these elections, he's used the media for a fledgling party like that to capture public imagination across the country
Yes.
of being a counterpoint.
Less than a year.
Yeah, in less than a year, being a counterpoint. So regardless of what happens to him in these elections, what he will do is, and as I said, it's, there are many small activist groups they're networking with. And if indeed you have a very muscular government who's trying to strong arm corporate interests, there will be a big pushback.
Absolutely.
And I think they
No,
are
they will-
looking to, be representative of those forces.
Yes.
Just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
one of the things which I don't think got reported very much, but I was in Varanasi, it was a long, it went on, the rally, it went on for about 6 hours, and the warm-up speakers of Aam Aadmi Party, what was very interesting is just a linguistic thing which I'll observe, the BJP warm-up speakers, they always speak in Khadi Boli. Aam Aadmi Party had produced a galaxy of people who were speaking in dialects. They were pretty good protest speakers, a lot of them. Having said that, one of the things that Arvind Kejriwal said there, which struck me, was ये मीडिया वाले स्टेबिलिटी कहते हैं, किसका स्टेबिलिटी, कौन सा स्टेबिलिटी, किसके लिए स्टेबिलिटी, अंबानी का स्टेबिलिटी. He said, you know,
No,
so
these are,
that's
see,
what
that's
a
what,
lot of
as,
people,
right,
you know,
as Vinod earlier pointed out, he's taking names which were taboo in Indian elections, virtually, Indian politics actually. Vinod, my question is this: would we have seen this big contest if not for Kejriwal taking on Narendra Modi? No, like Sonia Gandhi insisting that Amarinder Singh should contest against Arun Jaitley, or in many other places, different political parties being forced to put up their best leaders or strong leaders, or what they consider as strong, as against another very strong candidate. Because Vinod, you and I know very well that there used to be this some kind of a match fixing between major political parties as far as big leaders are concerned. Do you think that those are things of the past?
No, Girish, we'll have to differ here. I think that the Congress strategy to pit Amarinder against Arun Jaitley, or to field Ambika Soni from Anandpur Sahib, or to ask any senior leader, for instance, Ghulam Nabi Azad from Jammu and Kashmir, this was largely aimed at infusing some life into a party that had given up the contest even before the fight began.
Yeah.
And I think that it has to be analyzed differently, and not, in the context of Mr. Modi's presidential candidature. Of course, that had its implications, but the 3 elections that the Congress party lost to the state assemblies recently, they were a big dampener for the party's hopes. Yes, of course, today the Congress stock is very low, and that is being filled by all kinds of political forces. At some places, you may see the regional parties moving in. At some places, you may see the Aam Aadmi Party, at least in terms of the talking space, moving in, if not the voting space. This will happen because whenever a big party is shrinking, there is space available, and that is not filled by any one entity. It is filled by different entities given the climate situation, the political climate in different states. Now, for instance, I'll give you an example. When the Congress lost the Dalit base, it was the BSP which got the Dalit base. And the BSP will hold on to the Dalit base in Uttar Pradesh regardless of what challenge it faces. So, the Aam Aadmi Party is a big catalyst in terms of political discourse. It is a big catalyst in terms of setting standards in public life. It is it is going to be a big spokesperson. It will be the big deterrent for any government that is formed after these elections, because assuming that there is a BJP government, he is going to be the first one to stand up and say it is not a BJP government, it's a proxy of the capitalists. And indeed, the BJP today is increasingly looking like the Swatantra Party of 1960s, which was the first party backed wholly and solely by the royalties and the Udyogapatis, the big business.
Yeah. Okay, Vipul, my question is, same question which I'm asking all panelists. You think that now Vinod says that, as far as Congress is concerned, it's desperation more than, trying to take on big leaders with another big leader, because their stocks are so low, they are pushing big leaders into the battle. But why should Smriti Irani be brought in by the BJP? And in other places also, like I was telling, Kumar Swamy of Janata Dal, a former chief minister, being forced to take on Veerappa Moily. How do you see these things? Don't you see this, Kejriwal having been the catalyst for these kind of things?
I think the big leaders and big issues both are back. I think they have to bank on big issues now, because the conventional caste and communal mobilization is not working. Vinod was talking about how Congress lost the Dalit vote and then BSP got it. But you see, look at the way the vote banks are frittering. The way some Yadav vote is not going to Yadav candidates, or Jat vote is going away from Jats, or even scheduled caste vote is moving away from Bahujan Bahujan Samaj Party. So there is a different kind of mobilization, and suddenly there are new categories of people who have come up. Now you have the new middle class, which is the lower middle class, slightly above the poverty line. These are the street hawkers, these are the domestic workers, these are the, different kind of categories. These categories are not caste and community categories which we generally described as vote banks. You have the disabled, you have the LGBT, and you have a whole lot of completely new categories. And then, there's one thing is how the visible changes that Aam Aadmi Party has brought about. The red beacons are going, and the bungalows are not the big issues, and
It
the
is.
bijli.
When it comes to Kejriwal, it is a big issue.
But yeah, the point is that suddenly things happened. Maharashtra, Haryana lowered the electricity tariffs and things like that. But the invisible changes are the new expectations of the young India. New expectations. People are asking questions. They are not interested in conventional ideologies, conventional identities, and I think that is where Aam Aadmi Party has made a very big difference. Nowhere have they asked for votes in the name of caste or community or
Okay.
anything like that.
Yes,
Conventional vote banks are gone with them.
No, I think
You're making Vipul, you're making a very important statement. I don't know. We'll have to discuss that whether it is actually.
Girish, can I get in?
No,
Mr.
no, I'll just
Varanasi is
give.
I think
actually-
No,
Vipul-
first, Sabha, let Vinod come in. I'll
I
come
think
in.
I
Yes,
think
Vinod.
the point Vipul is making is valid, and I think it is aspiration which is driving these people. But if I may say that it is confined to big cities where identity subsumes into aspiration, where there is a whole lot of peer competition happening,
Right.
but it is not as much on display in the
rural
countryside,
Okay.
in the back of the beyond.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
think this is an entirely accurate thing. In fact, Aam Aadmi Party, if it tries to go out, even Varanasi itself, they immediately played identities. They are being very careful about that. I know
And
their
it-
strategy is there, that they will appeal to this vote. They stopped twice for the Azan. They made a pitch. He took a topi from a Muslim Maulana.
he went and took a
They
dip
are-
in the
He took
Ganga.
a dip in the Ganga. They also are making a play for a particular, I've got it in my notes, sect of Dalits. Rakhi Barla will go and campaign against them.
So it is
appealing
not that
to
they are
the
completely-
Gandhians.
It's on the
So
decline,
it's
it has
a
not
pure
finished.
phase of
No,
identity.
Girish, if I can point out just one thing.
Vipul, I'll come back to you.
In Uttar Pradesh, if you look at the emerging battle lines, it's quite interesting. It's really a battle between the haves and the have-nots. Because if you look at the castes which are consolidating around the BJP, they are the muscular castes. They are the powerful castes who every day come into clash with a
We will-
whole range of, castes,
Ajay, this needs a completely separate discussion as to what is
both
happening
sides
there. We
identity is
will have it one of these
not
days. Yes,
true,
Anant.
No.
Anant, no, 1 second. Anant, you have seen enough elections in this country. All of us have seen enough elections in this country. Every election we know in Maharashtra you have seen, across the country you have seen. Inevitably, we always used to hear that whenever a weak candidate would be put up by other political parties. Is that a thing of the past?
Yeah, it seems now. With looking at the candidates and putting up heavyweight candidates against the opponent,
Right.
heavyweight candidates, I think slowly it seems to be changing. Means looking at Jaitley versus Amrinder Singh,
Right.
or putting up Ghulam Nabi Azad in Udhampur, which what Vinod said, that is also a point.
Right.
Which
Or
Congress-
forcing Smriti Irani to go there. They wanted Uma Bharti to go there, and she didn't want to. Then they had to find
Yeah.
Smriti. So this politics of match fixing, is it over, Ajay?
it can't be said that it is over.
but
this-
it is
some
beginning.
some
well,
beginning
well,
is being-
many people believe that the Congress plan B is to somehow stop Modi. So in many constituencies, the Congress, and not just the Congress, maybe other parties are involved, they have some kind of unwritten understanding which they are trying to this thing. This is what people say. I'm not, I cannot prove this, but it is logical. It is logical, Modi being the main kind of gorilla in the room, that there would be tendency of other parties to look slightly fearfully at him, and there may be some. So I don't think match
there
fixing.
can be some B plan.
some
Plan
understanding.
B. Plan B must be there.
Yeah. So I think all that is there, but it is true that this is a very fiercely contested election, and there is less scope maybe of this match fixing what you're talking about.
Vinod, do you think there is less scope for match fixing from now onward? Is this a trend which has begun now, which will be an enduring trend, or you think this is just one of those one-off things which will fade away when the next elections come?
You see, I just want to remind my friends in the studio that recently Mr. Rajnath Singh, before they named Smriti Irani from Amethi, said that they will not name the Amethi candidate till the time the Congress names the candidate, its candidate in Banaras, Now, he did say that, and it was played up on certain prominent channels, which are watched. Now, the question here is that, as Kumar Vishwas pointed out, that Smriti's presence in Amethi is going to split the anti-Congress vote. And I think the presence of Smriti in Amethi is good news for Rahul Gandhi. I mean, in terms of sheer ground realities.
Well, anyway, that's one point of view. I'm sure there'll be different. Yes,
You asked about match fixing. No,
I'm asking about match fixing. So you think that this is also part of the match fixing?
We will have to put up the contest.
Okay, Vipul?
Yeah. No, the point I'm making is that there is a new grammar which has come up. I mean, a lot of things are also not changing, and which should worry us. I mean, what is not changing is the power of money in elections, and the fact that political parties, in spite of the fact that Aam Aadmi Party has brought about this change, they have announced their source of funding on the website, and they're consistently doing that. The other political parties are refusing to do so.
Right.
So I think my point that I was making earlier was that, look, the trend is of a new political grammar. The trend is of a decline. The trend is not of a complete change. The decline of mobilization in a conventional way has changed. And I think what has not changed should also worry us, in spite of the fact that Arvind Kejriwal and his Aam Aadmi Party has brought about those changes. And one of them is about the inner functioning of political parties and the funding of elections.
Okay, Sabha,
Yeah, I agree with Vipul. Actually, the whole battle is going to emerge between economic policies. And in that, once we have seen a demolition job done on some other parties, I presume the results will come out. Then, presuming, or in case Modi does become the PM or the President of India, as he seems, I'm being flippant over here. In that case, then certainly there will be a lot of room for Aam Aadmi Party to make its plank the economic discourse, and that is going to be the big division. Having said that, there is enough sort of a subtext, a communal subtext to the campaign already, from all sides.
No, we're running out of time. Ajoy, this politics of mobilization, do you see things changing there? In UP and Bihar, we're still talking of politics of, what Sabha is saying, what she has observed in Varanasi, Aam Aadmi also is going through the politics of mobilization.
See, the beauty of India, Girish,
but outside UP and Bihar,
the beauty of India is that not just one thing runs at one time. There is several parallel things happening.
Right.
And you can't rule that out. Yes, Kejriwal is running, but so is Benji. Don't rule her out.
Absolutely.
So is Mamta. So is Jai Lalita. There are several other subtexts which are running. So we should not forget them. We tend to get completely obsessed by one person, and I think I just warn that there are a lot of things happening at the same time.
Okay.
And they may be all important.
Anand, very quickly, last words. The politics of mobilization. Do you see this changing? Aam Aadmi Party is, at least in Delhi, when they went to elections in Delhi, they didn't go according to castes and caste mobilization and things like that.
I
you think
completely
that,
agree.
at least to some extent, will have some impact in other parts of the country, if not UP and Bihar?
Definitely, because what we see in Mumbai, I am from Maharashtra.
Yes.
So obviously they are appealing across beyond caste and religion, and I think they are getting response.
Okay, I think we're completely run out of time. Sorry. And on that note, we need to end. New things are happening. As Ajoy says, the different things are happening in different parts of the country. We will have to keep a close look at. But one thing which all my panelists agree is that Aam Aadmi Party has really changed the discourse to a great extent in Indian elections. Thanks to all my guests, Vinod Sharma, Vipul Mudgal, Ajoy Bose, Sabha Naqvi and Anand Bagatkar. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue in Big Picture same time tomorrow.